In the shadows of every major war, behind the headlines and the battles, there exists a hidden force. An unseen billionaire whose wealth grows as nations crumble. While the world watches as countries clash, this figure plays a quiet but crucial role in orchestrating the chaos, all for a profit that few can comprehend. But who is this shadowy puppet master, and what is their true agenda? Throughout history, wars have shaped the world in ways that are both catastrophic and transformative. Nations rise and fall, empires crumble, and millions of lives are lost. Yet behind the smoke and devastation, there are often shadowy figures whose wealth and power thrive in conflict. These individuals, rarely seen in the public eye, stand at the crossroads of war and profit, driving industries that capitalize on destruction. In the world of geopolitics and global power, one question arises. Who stands to gain the most from the chaos of war? The idea of a shadow billionaire manipulating conflicts for personal gain has been the subject of both speculation and conspiracy theories for decades. These billionaires are often tied to industries like defense, oil, and arms trading, sectors that see exponential growth in times of war. While the public is fixated on the political and military leaders making decisions, the true financial architects of war may not be the generals or presidents, but the unseen moguls who fund both sides and benefit from the aftermath. Behind the scenes, corporations profit from selling weapons, providing logistics, and controlling the flow of vital resources like oil and minerals. Their influence on global events is far-reaching, but their identities remain hidden in plain sight. For every war fought, there are those whose fortunes are built on the suffering of others. These shadow billionaires are the unspoken architects of conflict, wielding more power than the average person could ever imagine. In this exploration, we will delve into the world of these elusive figures and examine how their financial empires thrive amid the wreckage of war, raising uncomfortable questions about the true cost of global conflict. Number 1. The unseen architects of war. Who are these shadow billionaires? The idea of shadow billionaires behind global conflicts is both fascinating and unsettling. These are individuals or entities whose wealth and influence grow in direct correlation to the chaos and destruction caused by war. Yet, they remain largely hidden from the public's eye. While many associate war with political leaders, military generals, and the soldiers who fight, few realize how powerful financial figures, often with vast business empires, quietly drive the gears of conflict. These shadow billionaires often find themselves entrenched in industries that are critical during wartime: arms manufacturing, energy resources, military contracting, and reconstruction efforts. Their businesses are often the suppliers of weapons, fuel, and vital minerals, meaning they stand to profit immensely when countries go to war. In a world where geopolitics and economics intersect, these billionaires wield influence over both governmental policies and global markets, shaping the very nature of conflicts. One common denominator among many of these shadow figures is their connection to the defense industry. Companies such as Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman often find their profits soaring during times of military escalation, thanks to the billions spent by governments on weapons and technology. Though these corporations are technically separate from their billionaire owners, the influence they wield over political decisions and military strategies cannot be denied. For example, the Koch brothers, once at the helm of Koch Industries, have been known for their deep political involvement, funding candidates who advocate for policies favorable to the oil and gas industry. During the Iraq War, the Koch empire stood to benefit from both the war effort's demand for oil and reconstruction contracts afterward. Their wealth grew during the period of turmoil, underscoring the close link between conflict and financial gain for the powerful. These shadowy billionaires are not limited to the defense sector alone. Their hands are often in global energy markets, with oil magnates capitalizing on resource-rich areas and conflict zones. They invest in mining operations and secure lucrative contracts for resource extraction. which are vital to a global economy that depends on minerals and oil. In essence, while wars create destruction, these hidden moguls see an opportunity to increase their power and influence, making them the true unseen architects of global conflict. Number 2. The military-industrial complex, fueling war for profit. The military-industrial complex, MIC, is a term coined by U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower in his farewell address in 1961, warning of the growing power of defense contractors and their ability to influence government policy. The MIC refers to the powerful relationship between the government, the military, and private corporations that provide the necessary technology and resources for warfare. Over the years, it has become clear that the MIC, fueled by a small group of billionaires, plays a central role in shaping the course of global conflicts. At the heart of the MIC are defense contractors, massive corporations that manufacture everything from small arms to fighter jets and tanks. The largest of these corporations, including Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and General Dynamics, have become some of the wealthiest companies in the world, generating billions of dollars in revenue from military contracts. These companies often have long-standing positions in the private sector. This revolving door creates an environment in which the interests of these corporations align with political decisions, ensuring that conflicts continue to be fueled by massive military spending. A clear example of the MIC's influence can be seen in the US wars in the Middle East, particularly the Iraq War. After the 9/11 attacks, defense contractors were quick to secure multi-billion-dollar contracts for military equipment, reconstruction projects, and intelligence technology. Companies like Halliburton, once led by Dick Cheney, and Blackwater, a private military contractor, saw their profits soar as the U.S. government sought their services during the prolonged conflict. These companies not only provided the tools of war, but also benefited from the aftermath by participating in rebuilding efforts or supplying security forces. The military-industrial complex is a powerful force in modern geopolitics, often serving the interests of a few billionaires who profit from the destruction of war. Its ability to shape national policies and extend conflicts has raised concerns about the true motivations behind wars. While politicians and military leaders might appear to drive conflicts, the MIC and the billionaires behind it may have just as much influence in determining the course of global events. Number 3. War profiteering. How billionaires make billions from destruction. War profiteering refers to the practice of making substantial profits from the destruction caused by warfare, typically through the sale of weapons, military services, and reconstruction efforts. In modern conflicts, war profiteering has become a multi-billion-dollar industry, often benefiting those with the financial resources and influence to capitalize on global turmoil. While many focus on the human toll of war, few realize how certain individuals and corporations amass unimaginable wealth from the very conflicts that devastate countries. One of the most prominent ways that war profiteers make money is through the manufacturing and selling of weapons. Major defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, BAE Systems, and General Dynamics produce everything from fighter jets and tanks to missiles and drones. These companies thrive when governments engage in prolonged military conflicts, as their products are in high demand. In addition to weapons manufacturing, war profiteers also benefit from providing logistical support, intelligence services, and security operations for military forces. Private military contractors like Blackwater, Now Academy, and DynCorp have been involved in some of the most controversial conflicts of the 21st century, providing security, training, and combat operations in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. In addition to the direct benefits from weapon sales, war profiteers also profit from reconstruction efforts. After a country has been ravaged by war, billions of dollars are often allocated for rebuilding its infrastructure. Companies that specialize in construction, oil drilling, and resource extraction frequently require and secure government contracts for these projects. often working in partnership with military contractors to ensure that they maintain control over vital resources. These post-war reconstruction efforts become a lucrative business for many of the same corporations that profited during the conflict. War profiteering has drawn widespread criticism for its ethical implications. Many argue that profiting from war is morally reprehensible, especially when it involves prolonging violence for financial gain. However, the global defense industry continues to grow, with new billionaires emerging who are willing to invest in the destructive machinery of war. As long as the demand for military hardware and security services remain high, war profiteers will continue to thrive, making their fortunes on the back of human suffering and destruction. Number 4. The role of oil in modern conflicts. A billionaire's playground. Oil has long been a critical factor in shaping global conflicts. The Middle East, home to some of the world's largest oil reserves, has been the focal point of military interventions, with nations vying for control over this vital resource. The quest for oil has fueled wars and geopolitical rivalries for over a century, and in many ways, it has been the driving force behind conflicts like the Gulf War, the Iraq War, and others. Oil billionaires, both individuals and corporations, have consistently been major beneficiaries of these conflicts, with their vast wealth growing as nations battle for control of energy resources. One of the most well-known cases of oil fueling conflict is the Iraq War. When the US invaded Iraq in 2003, many speculated that oil was a key motivation behind the invasion. Iraq has some of the largest proven oil reserves in the world, and securing access to these reserves would have significant geopolitical and economic implications. In the years following the invasion, companies like Halliburton, ExxonMobil, and BP secured lucrative contracts to develop and extract oil from Iraq's fields. These corporations, which have often ties to influential billionaires, benefited immensely from the war's outcome. Billionaires like the Koch brothers, who control one of the largest privately held oil companies in the US, have historically been linked to policies that favor war and conflict in oil-rich regions. Their influence over US energy policy, combined with their substantial investments in the oil industry, has allowed them to reap the rewards of global instability. The oil industry's deep ties to war have sparked concerns that the pursuit of profits from energy resources is a significant factor in determining the course of military conflicts around the world. In this part, we'll explore how the interests of oil billionaires and corporations often align with geopolitical conflicts, raising questions about whether wars are fought to secure control over vital energy resources. The relationship between oil and war is one of the most prominent examples of how billionaires can leverage conflict for financial gain, shaping both the global economy and international relations. Number 5. Arms dealers and the global trade in weapons. Arms dealers have long been central players in the global trade of weapons, a trade that is both profitable and controversial. From small arms to advanced military technologies, the sale of weapons has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. And many of the wealthiest individuals and companies are deeply involved in it. Arms dealers, often operating behind closed doors and through complex networks, are able to exploit conflicts for financial gain, supplying weapons to governments, rebel groups, and private militias alike. These weapons are often sold to both sides of a conflict, ensuring that the arms dealers continue to make money regardless of the outcome. The most notorious arms dealers in history include figures like Adnan Khashoggi, a Saudi billionaire who became infamous for his role in international arms trading during the 1970s and 1980s. Khashoggi's empire included an extensive network of weapons sales, which played a significant role in fueling conflicts in the Middle East and Africa. He was one of the many figures who profited from the global arms trade, which continues to be an industry that thrives on violence and instability. In addition to individual arms dealers, major corporations like Lockheed Martin, BAE Systems, and Northrop Grumman dominate the global arms market. These companies have vast political influence, often lobbying for military contracts and supporting policies that encourage conflict and defense spending. These companies are frequently the beneficiaries of government defense contracts, which are awarded to them with little transparency or oversight. As a result, many of these corporations have seen their fortunes rise in times of war, while the rest of the world bears the cost of human suffering. The global arms trade is one of the most lucrative businesses in the world, with weapons flowing to regions of conflict, sometimes with little regard for their ultimate use. Arms dealers, both individuals and corporations, profit from these transactions, making billions of dollars while contributing to the cycle of violence. The ethical implications of this trade are profound, yet the industry continues to thrive as long as wars are waged. Number 6. Banking on war. How financial institutions profit from conflict. Financial institutions play a critical role in the global economy, and during times of war, they often find themselves in the midst of major profit opportunities. From financing military expenditures to backing reconstruction efforts, banks and financial giants frequently benefit from conflict. In this part, we'll explore how banking moguls and hedge funds make money from war, not only through investments in defense companies, but also by providing loans to governments engaged in conflict. When nations go to war, the cost is astronomical, and financing these operations often requires substantial amounts of capital. Capital that financial institutions are eager to provide, usually at high interest rates. A prime example of this is the role of financial institutions during World War I and World War II. During both conflicts, banks like the Rothschilds and JP Morgan provided loans to countries in need of funding their military campaigns. These loans often came with significant conditions ensuring that the banks received hefty sums once the wars were over. Defense contractors, private military companies, and oil giants all receive significant backing from banks and hedge funds, ensuring that these entities are financially supported throughout the duration of conflicts. And here we have reached the end of this video. What are your thoughts about this video? Share with us in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.